All right, hey guys, welcome to a video here for our VUUSH class. This is not about a particular lesson that we're going to be doing in class. Rather, this is something that is a project that VU has us do. Project probably isn't the right word for it. It's a very odd assignment that they are going to have us try to accomplish here. Now, my goal here today is to not only introduce you to it, but then to talk to you about what my plans are for it as well, and how we will be going forward, kind of conquering this thing. So currently, I will be putting this video out on the 1st of November. We will be done with this thing. My plan is, ideally, to be done with it by December 1st. Okay, so we're going to talk about what it is, what's all going into it, and hopefully make this as least painful as possible. Okay, so what is this thing? Well, to find what we're going to be talking about, you need to go into our plus stuff folder. Once you've done that, you're going to see this thing here that says critical thinking assignment. Now, okay, you're like, oh no, what is this? Basically, like, what this is this critical thinking assignment is mandated by VU. Okay, every VU classroom has to do this if they're doing VUUSH, and we have to do it too. Okay, now we're going to talk about what my plans are for it, and kind of like how I'll be grading for it, and just I'll give you my unbiased feedback on it as well in terms of what I think about this thing. Okay, so let's just before I get super tilted, okay, let's just go ahead and read what this thing is. Okay, and then we'll think about it and we'll process it here in a second. Critical integrative thinking writing assignment. Value of assignment, at least 10% of your overall grade. Requirements, 3.5 to 4 pages. 12 font, double space, cover page. All right, so what do we get out of this? It's a paper, it's worth points, okay? That's what you should get so far, okay? Let's see what this is, though, because this is where, after reading the first paragraph, again, I'm going to read it, and then I'll tell you like why I'll give you my feedback on it and what we're going to do. So it says, the student must integrate the following sources into their responses to the prompt below. A secondary source, a primary source, which could be letters, diaries, speeches, okay, etc., and then 2 images, pictures, painting, drawings, sketches, etc. Sources must be cited in the text as you write, as well as at the end of your document. Okay, so there you go. You can see we're dealing with some primary source stuff. We're dealing with some secondary source stuff. Okay. Must address each of the following prompts while integrating the various sources into a narrative essay. Now, okay, so for those who, let's take a moment here. So we've got a paper. We've got to do a bunch of things with some sources. It's going to be about 3.5 to 4 pages long. It's going to be narrative, which means we're kind of trying to tell somewhat of a story or kind of give like an arc or a theme. It's, again, let's go with this so far. Now, which time period in American history is most significant when defining the United States of America through the study of history? Begin to answer this question by briefly describing the overall scope of the study of American history for the time period. And so now we get several time periods to choose from. Okay. Let's kind of look here. So it says before Europeans to 1850. That's the entire scope of the time period that we get to do. Okay, so we have to, and this is going to be my critique here, we have to somehow give a synthesis, a story about over, if you think about it, 1491 to 1850 in less than 4 pages. But that alone is, I'm telling you right now, a 700, 800 page paper if you want to actually do that right. Also better known as just a book. So I'm going to let you know straight up, this is a terrible assignment, okay? So whoever put this together doesn't know what they're doing. Okay, is kind of the idea. Now I'm going to talk to you about the ways we're going to get around this, and we'll get to that here in a second. Okay, now this is step B. Okay, so we have to give like an overall theme, right? Which time period is the most significant when defining the United States? So basically, we have to like take the entire picture and say, okay, this is the one that I'm going to focus on. And then, again, we're kind of mushing A and B here together. And again, we'll talk more about in class how we'll actually do this. Okay, it says, now we get 3 time periods we get to pick from. Before Europeans is 1750. Okay, so that's right up to the French and Indian War. Then we have 1750 to 1800. So that would be like Revolution through, again, like the beginning of, early beginnings of the U.S. government. And then 1800 to 1850, which is going to be that Industrial Revolution, Jacksonian democracy, up to right when about the Civil War is going to happen, because the Civil War starts in 1861. Okay, so just to recap, in 4 pages, we have to talk about which one of these is the most significant. Okay, and then kind of talk about, again, like give a little preview of what the entire time period is encompassing. Okay, so that in and of itself is impossible, but then it gets worse. So C, which of those 3 time periods do you think is the most important to study for a person to gain an understanding of what defines America? That's the next topic. Okay, so let's take a moment here. Okay, let's just go back and look in bold what are the topics that we have to do. Okay, so which time period is the most significant? Okay, this has been duplicated, so we need to. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this just to help clear it up a little bit. Actually, you know what? I might publish like an alternative. I think what I'll do here is after I'm done with this video, I will publish an alternative document that lays these out much more clearly. So this is the first one. Begin to answer this question by briefly describing the overall scope of American history for the time period before Europeans 1850. So we just kind of need a general arc there. Maybe that's a paragraph, right? Then, okay, we have to discuss what the major themes were, just like I did, of these 3. Okay, that's option B. Okay, then tell me which of the 3 is the most important. Okay. It says use even greater detail explaining the major themes. So again, like let's say you said the theme of 1800 to 1850 was the Industrial Revolution, right? And it says use even greater detail to explain why you argue for that time period. Include your primary source of a letter, diary, or speech in this section. And obviously you would use that to back it up, right? So you have like, I don't know, the invention of the steamboat. You might have a primary source. And then, oh no, it gets worse. Search for 2 images, pictures, paintings, drawings, sketches that are emblematic of your chosen time period. They should be symbolic examples of major themes of the chosen time period. Describe the images and explain why each image is symbolic of that time period. Insert your images into your Word doc along with an explanation of why each is emblematic of that time period. Each image and explanation should be approximately 1/4 of a page. So right there, we've burnt a half a page. So again, what are we actually doing here? Let's just take a moment. You are describing images and explaining why those are symbolic for the time period. That is step number 4. Okay, and then E, is your chosen time period reflected in American society today? If so, explain. If not, why? Okay, and that right there is the last section. Now, okay, there are basically these five tasks that we have to accomplish, okay? And we have to do all of this in 3.5 to 4 pages, not including that, like, of course, like inserting the images in there and then describing them, okay? Like if I just zoom out here and take this from like a large macro point of view, let me actually zoom out so you can like see my screen. Okay, so here's a page, right here. The image is going to take up about this much, and then you're going to have a caption that goes under it, and that can't take up more than 1/4 of a page. So there's all these little finicky things that they've got in here, but the point that I want to drive home to, and if you're like mildly confused watching this video, as I already am, having to explain it, this is a ridiculous assignment. And the reason why it's ridiculous is because they're asking you to do stuff that literally people have written entire books on, and they want you to do it in 3.5 pages to 4 pages. Okay? So, Let me be very frank here with what we're going to be doing with this thing, okay? My goal is that we're going to kind of slow drip this, okay? Throughout, like, each week, we'll try to accomplish one of these particular things, okay? So if you see here, we've got like 5 tasks, right? Like, maybe what we do, this is kind of my planning right now, is we take a week and I have you guys work on this writing for 20-30 minutes in class, okay? And then by the time that we get 5 weeks in, okay, you've had enough time that you've been able to add those sources and images and those kind of things, okay? However, let me talk about grading with this thing. This, and I want to understate this completely into its entirety and full extent, will have absolutely no impact on your grade. And what I mean by that is I will make it so that it does not have an impact on your grade. Okay, as long as you put in general good effort. Now, what I mean by that is, for example, like let's say that you do this and you've gotten like, you know, a 75% and an 80% on your test so far. Okay, I will probably average this paper to be a 78% so that it has no impact on your grade. Okay, and that's saying like if you bomb it. Okay, because I don't want something that's like this that is so ridiculous in terms of what it's asking you to do. Because I'll be frank with you, I would struggle to do this. Okay, in terms of like doing it like with an A+ quality. That I don't want this to be the reason why your grade gets destroyed. Okay, and to be honest with you, a lot of these things we're doing anyways. It's just now we're having to put it together for VU because they expect this from every single class. Second though, okay, let's say that you do this really, really well. Then of course, then I'm going to, you know, put it at 100%. And that way it will have somewhat of a positive impact on your grade. Okay, the point here is that this is a no stakes assignment. Okay, I still expect you to do well on it and do it like, you know, with fidelity, but it's something that, you know, we got to get done, and we have to do it just to prove that we have been critically thinking this whole time. Okay, it's kind of the theme here. You'll notice they have a lot of grammatical errors, so I'll have to go through these and fix these too. Besides that though, okay, here's kind of like our steps going forward. So yes, we're going to be doing like a slow drip, like a week by week kind of accomplishing of these things. I will admit to you, I did not introduce this critical thinking assignment to you until now, because simply put, you didn't have the content knowledge to talk about it, right? And so that's again just to be aware of that. So we'll do a slow drip on things. That's number 1. Number 2, okay, I will help you look at how to chalk up the content in terms of talking about what theme do I want to say is going on during this time period. Our mini lessons and our lesson titles there are going to be incredibly, incredibly important for thinking about this. Okay. 3, okay, in terms of primary sources, secondary sources, images, I will provide a database for you for all of these things, and they will be very, very easy. You can just scroll through by topic and find stuff. Okay, and I will talk about where you can do that later. And then step number 4, okay, I will have a day, and you'll notice in here they talked about citing. Okay, sources must be cited in the text as you write, as well as at the end of your document. I will do an entire day on how to cite as a historian, which is something that, again, I really hate to teach, because very few of you are going to go on to become historians, and that's okay. But it is something that if we're going to treat this as a true college class, I'm going to have to teach you how to cite, and it's going to be in a brand new citation format that you've never heard of before. Don't worry, it's going to be okay. We'll do a whole day on cover pages and all that stuff. It'll be super fun. So, that is my brief explanation of this. Now, again, don't freak out. We're going to take this really, really slow and bit by bit and step by step. The thing that I want to drive home here is that I'm going to be supporting you on this. But there is going to be a fair bit of writing that over time we will accumulate doing into this thing. Okay? So, again, I know you probably didn't know this assignment was coming up yet. Again, that's why we're going to take time in class to introduce it. But hopefully, if you're looking back at this or seeing this video for the first time, you can say, okay, I understand what this thing is a little bit better. And hopefully at the end of the day, you can say this is a free 10% of my grade that I get, and it's not gonna hurt me. Okay. So other than that, I will see you guys in the next video, and I hope this was helpful. Bye bye.